Alright. The finals are here. And for the finals, we have two lovely Terrans. The young and the old. In the bottom left is the red Terran. He is Mal's HeRoMaRinE. In the top right has the blue Terran. He is Liquid Clem. Clem still being very young, and HeRoMaRinE, while young in general, comparatively, not young at all. And, funnily enough, in this specific... as air suddenly gets into my throat for no reason at all. In this specific instance, it actually is quite reflective on their playstyles as well, which is kind of funny. It's kind of cool when that happens, you know? It's pretty easy to label the youngins as being more multitasky, micro-oriented, more aggressive in general, because a lot of times it is true. We still don't quite have that same development that seems to happen in Korea more often, where Korea has a lot of people coming up from being cheesy and all-in-y, and then they eventually kind of control their macro. But we do have somewhat of a thing where, like, a lot of these young guys are, you know, maybe a little bit cheesier, maybe just in general a little bit more aggressive. They make rash decisions sometimes that sometimes benefits them. They doom drop in a desperate scenario and they actually win because of it. And sometimes hurts them. They doom drop in a not desperate scenario and it loses them the game. You know what I mean? But for these two players, it really is quite easy to set up that story. Because Clem is the young guy. He is quite micro-oriented, and he has made some, even today, you know, questionable decisions. A little too overeager to combat some Blink Stalkers earlier on. And then you have HeRoMaRinE, who is, like, quote-unquote, the older player. Well, he is older, but not, you know, not old. I think he's 23. Something like that. Anyways. But his play style is, like, you know, what we would, you know, kind of stereotypically, I guess, identify with someone who's older. It's a little more mature, a little more conservative, a little more patient, more macro-oriented. But hopefully it makes for a really great TvT. Now, funnily enough, we actually had, oh, there we go. The openings kind of go the opposite way, which is Clem went for a 1-Rex expand, and HeRoMaRinE went for a factory expand that he kind of hid a little bit so that Clem couldn't get a scout on the gases and whether or not they're being fully mined or not, if there's a starport or not. But that is the way of TvT openers. You can't always be super aggressive or super defensive. And looks here, Clem doesn't want to go for a bunker. He pulls a couple of SCVs. It's a little more complicated when the Hellions start joining in, but that's why Clem is making his own Hellions. And Clem is going to get away with his faster command center, no problem. No problem. Pairing up the Hellion even. I mean, this is supposed to be scary for the 1-Rex expand player. And Clem not going for a bunker is like, oof, oh, fire. Still got one of the Hellions looking to get one of the Reapers, but fails in doing so, and then just immediately taps out of the game. I mean, in that sense, in that game, it was a case of the youngin being too overconfident against the aggressive player. A bunker would have saved his life. I mean, it still would have cost him, you know, obviously 100 minerals. He would have lost some SCVs because either they're not mining or they die. If they are mining in the natural, they'd still die. You can just wrap around the bunker, but it means he wouldn't straight up die. He could have tried to use the ramp more than the low ground choke, right? He could have just holed up on his own ramp and pulled his SCVs whenever he was attacked so that he has a blip of the high ground advantage every now and again. He could have literally just moved entirely up to his main, realizing, okay, I don't have anything against this, and then just sat there, and he would have lived. But it is what it is. When you don't do those options, it goes from, well, I guess he's fine, to, I guess he taps out. So there's me, I guess, at this point, Clem, he's proven more often than not that his decision-making is good. Like, I think that is part of the reason why he's done so much better in the last year, is that his decisions, while maybe a little more overeager than others, are correct more than not nowadays. So I trusted him, and I was like, yeah, I guess he just, you know, he holds well done. And then, well, I guess he actually was underestimating HeRoMaRinE the entire time. We're on Eternal Empire this time. Top right, it is HeRoMaRinE, up 1. Bottom left, we got the blue Terran, Clem. Tries to get away with not just a 1-rack CC, but also with no bunker, no high grounds, not as many units. I mean, it's kind of supposed to be a point where there's enough Marines and they're consistent DPS that they do work better than the Reaper Hellions, but micro not really on Clem's side, and maybe positioning a little clumped up with those Marines at one point. I don't know. I think he was just playing with fire and he got burned. He got burned! Clem has talked about feeling weak in TvT, but he did just 3-0 Soul, and not that I think Soul has, like, particularly amazing TvT. I don't think it's like a testament like, well, if he can beat Soul, he can beat anyone, but I do think that Soul is a good enough TvTer, especially when it comes to ladder and online performances, to rightfully test Clem's TvT. So I would say 3-0ing Soul, okay, it's supposed to give you a pretty good shot at winning any TvT. But I guess maybe HeRoMaRinE might be too good as well. Another step above. Talking like tiers here, it's Soul, and then a big step up to Clem, and then an even bigger step up to HeRoMaRinE. I don't know. Allowing yourself to just exit a game that was gonna be poor for your first game of best of 5, though, I guess we need to consider that he just didn't want to drag his mentality down there, and we shouldn't look too much more into it as a sign of things to come. As a sign of Clem just being, you know, bad at TvT. He's definitely one of those players that doesn't necessarily stick it out to the end every single time. Which, again, is sometimes maybe not a great thing. And sometimes is a great thing. Not a great thing is when you watch Bly stick it out to the very end and actually somehow bring it back. And you're like, oh, okay, maybe I could do it too. You know? There's sometimes you actually get rewarded for being down at 20 supply and thinking you can still win it. And not rewarding is that idea that you're dragging your mentality down with you whenever you stay in those types of games. You know you're going to be behind. You know you're behind. You try something, you're behind even more. You try something, you're behind even more. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel pretty. So, but Clem's, yeah, more apt to... We expect him to tap out in a situation like that more than, you know, Bly or even a HeRoMaRinE. But to be fair, HeRoMaRinE's also done the same thing. HeRoMaRinE has had his fair share of tap outs that make chat go, wait, what? No. Anyways. A little more of a conservative opening there from Clem. He has gone for a factory expand into Hellions. So these Hellions are very good against what anything HeRoMaRinE has to throw at him, actually. And on top of that, he gets to do a Hellion drop. A little bit awkwardly timed. It's going to be a bit of a supply block that stopped the 4th Hellion from popping out, but that medevac, I think, yeah, HeRoMaRinE knows exactly what he's going to be up against. Kind of prepares for it. Micro's going so much more. Oh my god, no, stop it, HeRoMaRinE. Micro went so much more in favor of HeRoMaRinE, plus he got the better positioning. Clem, oh my god, if he didn't use his quick tap out last game, I think he'd be using it here. You know, it's like, it's not game over, but oh my god. HeRoMaRinE today has just done things that, like... You're like, you didn't kill me? All you did was do something really cool with a katana, but you were so intimidating with that katana that I'm just gonna tap out. I'm just done. I'm just done! I'm just done! Fuck this game! F10N! I can't believe what HeRoMaRinE is doing to our European boys right now. He is slaughtering them. Lining them up. Gun to the head. Bam, bam, bam. Jesus. And I am still exaggerating. I just can't. It just... You know, Clem, you know what? He got away with all of his Hellions. They're still alive, alright? They're very injured and they're alive, so... Could have been much worse, but, ugh. All these little things are what HeRoMaRinE seems to be getting and it just feels like it would be so impactful. And they do end up being impactful. They do end up giving HeRoMaRinE a huge lead, and they end up, you know, he ends up winning the game. But, God. The Reaper Hellion battle into the finding the medevac here. HeRoMaRinE has a 5-worker lead, a equally timed 3rd CC. Stim's also equally timed. I mean, really, it does come down to his worker lead and an army supply lead of 10. But that's, you know, TvT 10 is something you can work with. Usually. Fortunately, in this situation, Clem is not just down 10 or 12 army supply, some of it's in Hellions, which really are quite useless the longer the game goes. So they're going to get torn to shreds by auto turrets without killing them very fast. They aren't going to kill a tank very fast. They don't even kill the Marines that fast a lot of the time, because they don't get the perfect lineup. Let's see what happens here. Cyclone is going to go down. Got weakened by that one tank volley, but a good interference matrix into the tank siege, into the auto turret. Scan reveals just one more tank and not much else defending. He's going to go for the lock-on. Oh, and he gets it, and he gets it. The mass repair in return, however, Clem's not willing to give up this game too quickly. The auto turrets kill the Marines. Gonna go after the SCVs next. The Cyclone still has that damn lock-on as well. But meanwhile, we do have double Ravens in the main base. That's where the rest of Clem's army supply was. And it does get some serious revenge. More SCVs will go down to that one auto turret. But back here, is anything getting done? Not so much. It looks like a surprise twist. Clem has done more damage to HeRoMaRinE than the other way around. But I guess... it's not really true, is it? Like, he's done more economic damage, but when he was already down in SCVs, and he's lost more army when he was already down in army. So, actually, at the end of the day, HeRoMaRinE still wins this. Gets that tank. Hansen are gonna go down. Clem not catching a break right now. Oh my god, he barely saves it. Oh, but he's gonna lose his tank. Oh my god. Auto turrets come back, try and save the day, but it's it. It's over. GG. Man. Brutal. Yeah, HeRoMaRinE with the reads today. Jesus. Well, it seems like today HeRoMaRinE is just on fire. Clem is like, he's giving it the college try, you know? He's, the first game taps out pretty quickly, but he really didn't have anything to work with. Like, he literally had no unit to work with. He would have had to pull SCVs and wait for something to pop out. Like, that, he taps out of that game fine. Second game, he actually has units to play around with. And we see what makes Clem good. We see him micro, we see him... with the clutch hold, with the clutch SCV repair, we see what he can do, and it just doesn't matter. He's already in a terrible spot because HeRoMaRinE found everything he was doing and stunted his growth. He's like, yeah, I'm not even going to let you get to a mid-game TvT. I'm not even going to let it happen. HeRoMaRinE is finding everything his opponents have to throw at him, whether it's TvP or TvT. He's not letting anything by. It's kind of crazy. In the bottom left, he is that man. It is HeRoMaRinE. In the top right, as the blue Terran, he is Clem. And this series, more than many, many others he's played, is going to be about mentality. How do you bring yourself back in a matchup that you know is not your best, so you probably don't have very good feelings towards it? It's pretty rare to say, oh yeah, it's my worst matchup, but I really love the matchup. It's pretty rare for that to happen. And then this guy just keeps finding everything you're doing and not just killing you a slow, but, contested game. Like, they just beat you in a bit of a bop. Like, how do you be okay with that? And then say, okay, I'm gonna go win the next 3 games. And then on top of that, it's TvT that has a bunch of different options. 1 base, 2 base, 3 base, macro game, short game. Feels like once you're down, you're really down, but yeah, you know, if you get to a mid game, TvT is all about comebacks, and I want to see a mid game TvT between these two, where Clem gets to show off his skills, and we might have it happen. I think Clem with a 1-racked expand is gonna bunker up on the high ground, which I would say he usually doesn't do because the ramp high ground on pillars probably makes him really confident to defend stuff, but I don't know, man. After the first game, I think he put a bunker, right? I don't know. Well, we'll see. And then we see our first, like, mid-game, but even then, Clem has had trouble holding some of those, some of the first tank Raven attacks, tank Viking attacks that can happen in a TvT. Kind of that start of the mid-game TvT pushes. He's had trouble against those too, so I don't know. He's not going to build a bunker, actually. He is still playing with just the idea of, you know, pulling the SCV, having that high ground. It is definitely better on this map than it was for the first map, so there's that. Didn't get a scout into the main base. HeRoMaRinE has been, even in the first game, he went for that supply depot to block out quicker than you would expect. But he is going for a CC. And Clem is actually going to have the faster starport. Right? So it was on 1-1-1 from HeRoMaRinE. We could see him maybe do some damage, finally. If he feels like his opponent's not hitting him first, and there's no Reapers, no Hellions on the way, so check that off your timing list and say, okay, if you're not going to hit me, maybe I can finally hit you. Maybe he gets a medevac. A Clem in control is a Clem... I can't rhyme. I don't know why I tried to rhyme. Whatever. When he gets control, when he can show off his micro, it seems to give him some kind of confidence. Like, he's a confident kid up until then, but then he's like a super confident kid when he gets control. So, when he gets to show off his micro skills. No medevac. Very peaceful TvT going into a Raven. Cyclone coming out first, the most safe thing you could do. Some would say safest, but those people are better at English than I am. And then into the tanks. So he will be pushed first, which is kind of the scenario I was worried about. Not the push I was expecting, though, to be honest. So HeRoMaRinE, even bamboozling me. This is my bad. I thought this was a supply depot and I just didn't even bother noticing it. He's actually went for a second barrack, so that's why his starport was even later than I think it was supposed to be. His factory wasn't that fast. So he goes for a bit of like a 2-on-1. Kind of. Like, yeah, the TvT version is very different, but yeah. And it's going to have stim available when you're not anticipating it. You think your opponent is doing roughly the same thing you're doing, which is actually delaying stim a considerable amount. But in TvT, that can be normal. In TvT, 8 or 9 minute stim is actually totally fine. HeRoMaRinE is going for a 5-30 minute stim with medevacs. So, downside to this is that he doesn't get a lot of tanks. So Clem, theoretically, perfectly defends. He has all the tanks alive, none of them picked off. He's going to have a higher tank count. And tanks, you know, they're pretty good. They're pretty good in this matchup, you know? So that's the downside there. He also doesn't have a second Raven. Could be a downside. Obviously, no Viking control. That can be very good combined with those tanks. So he has to take away some things to do this build. But what he does get is the element of surprise. Clem would not be expecting this. Couldn't scan it, couldn't scout it. He's going to have stim, which obviously gives him a lot more mobility. And he's going to control that third base timing, probably. You know, Clem would basically have to be very, very good about his tank positioning to properly defend every angle of 3 bases. Now, taking the triangle can help. Triangle pattern of the bases, but that Cyclone just revealed the army positioning. Did not see the third. Is he going to try and bop the third? Pretty safe maneuver to just unload here. Okay, I was going to go to the main. Alright. That Marine is barely not going to see it. Ugh, unlucky. Unlucky. The scan revealed the army was actually quite situated in that natural. Head to the main base. Is this going to be worth it, though? Clem, oh, no. Oh, no, 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 no. Goodness, it is. Okay, he's good. The auto turrets actually did a fabulous job right there of soaking the threats, and then the SCVs weren't pulled in to attack the army. They went back to mining, so their threat level was basically 0. But that was a little bit scary. That was a little scary. You know, even if their threat level is 0, if there's nothing else there to pull the threat, the SCV still would have died. But auto turrets, that's what they're best at, actually. They have for some reason, they have the highest threat of any unit in the game. Doesn't make any sense. Actually, you know, I think they're like beat out by 1 mechanic, but it doesn't matter. Anyways, another double drop going to the main base. Scan reveals nothing there except a single tank. Just drop on top of the tank. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. 2 tanks trying to recover. Clem, he's got the army supply. He just needs to be in position. Tank siege slightly faster for HeRoMaRinE. He doesn't actually kill that as fast as I thought he did. Actually, that wasn't so bad. That wasn't so bad. Clem holds. Has 1-1 on the way. Has his own stim. And is working on those combat shields. Not bad. He did just scan this base. I saw a blue scan. I'm not sure what he was scanning, but he scanned something. I guess maybe he was looking for the army. And when he didn't see it, he was like, uh-oh. But he does know about this third. Of course, after being hit by 2 medevacs, he has a very good idea as to what the build was, but all retroactively. And he knows that he still has to worry about being out positioned. 1 tank not going to be quite enough, but the Cyclone trying to help out, not going to help out enough. Clem down to only a handful of tanks. Good Cyclone lock on. Trying to pick up the unit down. There we go. Loses a Viking. Is going to still lose the Cyclone, or the Cyclone will kill. Oh, tada. Nice. Both of them microing pretty well there. Oh boy. So Clem down to 2 tanks, so that whole like always gonna have more tanks if he does it perfectly. Well, you know, it's really difficult to do it perfectly. He did get a lot of his tanks sniped off to one or the other drop, main, third, whatever. Faster 4th base. I am a little scared that's because he didn't spend his money though, and not because he actually has an advantage. He does have 5 barracks, and that's the most important thing. He is on even production barracks-wise. He's not on even production tank-wise, though. HeRoMaRinE has already invested into a 2nd tank. 2nd factory, so... It is Clem entirely responding to HeRoMaRinE. That's just what the openers gave. Both of them. Clem had to be defensive. HeRoMaRinE could be aggressive. But now that things have calmed down a little bit, now we're basically past the openers and into Marine Tank versus Marine Tank. Good old TvT. Now we might be able to see Clem actually be confident go out on the map. He's got his 4th base faster, so he's also going to have a planetary situated faster, ideally. And he's going to have a sensor tower defending his 3rd. Vikings defend his main, which is slightly out of the vision of the sensor tower. He should be good to go to get something done. But I think whereas Clem understands and like really feels confident in those other matchups, TvZ and TvP, and so we see him take control and be aggressive, I think there's still that feeling of not being confident in TvT. And if you're not confident in TvT, you're not moving out in TvT. If you're not moving out in TvT, the other player probably gets all the advantages. Because HeRoMaRinE is no slouch in TvT. He knows what to do if his opponent's turtling. He knows what to do if his opponent's being aggressive. Well, Clem needs to get something done. He can't just sit back. Finally, his time to shine. 2-2. Actually, slightly... I mean, is it even? +2 attack, much faster for HeRoMaRinE. I guess I'll say that much. But the +2 armor, a little faster for Clem. You usually talk about upgrade, attack upgrades being more important for Terrans. If they do engage, HeRoMaRinE will have that temporary upgrade lead. Clem is trying to pull him out of positions. He's a decent number of units off the left side. Could find 2 tanks, even for free, if he were to drop on top of them. Clem feeling ultra protected now that this is the planetary. He has a sensor tower. He's going to go for a quick old drop into the 3rd. Okay, not going to be allowed to do that. Oh, but he tries to jump on top of these tanks. This is the right move. The concave is good, but his tanks are actually really a part of the fight. I think he realized that. His tanks aren't part of the fight, and his Marines weren't killing these tanks quickly at all, so... Bit of a bold move right there. HeRoMaRinE was actually prepared. Was most of his army out of position? Sure, but not so much that it really hurt him. And he did have the upgrade lead. For a hot second there. Now things are evening up and will actually even be favorable for Clem for like 20-30 seconds. 5th base on the way for Clem. We finally get our mid game. We finally get our late game TvT. And HeRoMaRinE has already identified that. He's already moving on to a couple of Liberators, maybe for harassment for now, but I would not be surprised to see HeRoMaRinE be the first to throw down extra starports. As he has maxed out a little bit quicker, he's also starting to bank a little bit quicker. Center Tower trying to come down a little bit too late, though. That is the might of Clem's army, and HeRoMaRinE only has 2 tanks and a planetary to defend. This is the opening Clem was looking for. Mass repair on the planetary is only going to be able to last so long, and oh my god. Oh, HeRoMaRinE's going to go for it. This seems like a terrible call. I don't know about this. The Marine's getting slaughtered. Going around that bend, he does kill a lot of the frontline tanks. In fact, so many of the frontline tanks that I think they don't reach the planetary anymore. Unexpectedly good trade. I saw the Marines go down here and I was like, no, there's so many tanks. And yet, trading out those Marines to take out the tanks of Clem ended up being a fantastic thing. You have to worry about preparing his planetary. His tanks that he had left behind to siege up were obviously protecting anything else. And he was just waiting to get those Liberators out. And they did a fantastic job cleaning that up. No loss of the planetary. And now we can finally finish that center tower. I thought that was going to be Clem's moment, but HeRoMaRinE just makes such good decisions. Just gets his tank siege up on the left side and also responding to the left side very, very quickly at tanks and medevacs is once again going to find that concave. This time Clem has even less to defend. Question mark? Clem actually has the higher supply, but it's not all here. Good pickup to help take care of those tanks without even losing his own. Oh, he does lose a lot of his Vikings, though. So he was at one point at... Oh, he's still at 5. I thought at one point he was at a higher Viking count. He lost a couple here and there, but still has the Viking lead. It's actually Clem who slaps down the starports faster. Not what I was expecting. I really thought HeRoMaRinE was already thinking towards that, but maybe getting hit like he did just now interrupted that game plan. They both have 5th command centers done, but Clem's is actually on location, being scouted. Liberator goes for some harassments. Clem is getting faster to the potential of an air game here, but is in no position to safely get to that air game. He needs to defend this first and foremost. He's got army every which way, and he's now down 30 supply just for taking a couple of bad trades. His upgrades are about to finish, but HeRoMaRinE's +3 attack is already done. Clem also going to lose a couple of production facilities. And oh no, the tank's completely undefended. He's going to be dropped upon. Oh, the tanks of HeRoMaRinE. Sorry, the tanks of Clem getting a couple of shots off on HeRoMaRinE's army. And Clem is trying to go for a big ol' surround. They think HeRoMaRinE has got to be feeling this, right? Oh my god, the 270 surround from Clem is pretty sick. Even bringing in the SCVs. Tanks are being taken out very fast. Liberator shows up, but it's late to the party. Marines show up. Are they too late to that party? I think they are too late. Clem actually is going to be able to hold and take down a lot of the reinforcements of HeRoMaRinE with it. The supplies initially in favor of HeRoMaRinE are starting to dwindle as Clem loses 26 SCVs to hold there. But he does hold, and he took out a lot of HeRoMaRinE's tanks. HeRoMaRinE thought he could continue rallying forward. If there was anything which is a little bit faster, if anything was a little bit faster, maybe he does hold. But they were just a little too slow, and Clem takes a temporary small army supply lead. But hot diggity damn, he actually has his command centers on location, by the way. So while HeRoMaRinE has a higher worker count, his 5th command center still not landed anywhere where we could actually mine. Clem has had his 5th mining for some time. He took care of a single Marine over there and is on the right side also making a planetary. Well worth the loss of 20 plus SCVs to hold right there. Amazing. Clem, with the flippin' hold, might have just been the hold of the entire series. I think if he doesn't hold there, he loses the entire series. Pretty damn sick. But HeRoMaRinE, quick to recover, still had a big enough bank, still has a good enough economy, but he does need to get a 5th base. And now Clem, he is back on being on the front line. He's back in being in charge. And he's going to try and deny that 5th base for as long as possible while he steadily mines from 6 bases. They both have even upgrades as well, I believe. 3-3 versus 3-3, even on the tanks, the even supply. HeRoMaRinE sees an opportunity, grabs a couple of tanks, also denying mining to the top left with a single drop. High-sec auto-tracking could be researched in the future, as we once again have them both mining enough that they're banking. They could also get some of those miscellaneous upgrades. Good Liberator harassment, gets a couple of SCVs in return. Good scout on the 5th location. Clem could hammer that later, but right now his army is on the right side. This drop finally going to be cleaned up. Viking is on its tail. oh, once again, this right side position is a little bit weak for HeRoMaRinE. Liberator coming forward as Clem has gained the air control. Takes out that one defensive tank, but HeRoMaRinE's gonna go for it. HeRoMaRinE now spreads. Clem was not initially paying attention. Oh my god, the tank shots from HeRoMaRinE just obliterated Clem's front line. I think it might be too late to respond, so he's gonna have to evacuate. The tank siege up, the amount of tanks that sieged up was just too good for HeRoMaRinE. And Clem took a like 20-30 supply loss from a single blast. It felt like, anyways. Supply still even, in fact, favorable for Clem. But where are his tanks? Where's the rest of his army? It's coming from the north. He's once again going to be looking for a surround. Does HeRoMaRinE know about it? He does. He's got to scan on top of that north army and still feels comfortable moving forward and do a little more leapfrog action, I suppose. The right side looking weak now. The number of Marines available for HeRoMaRinE, but he's not brought most of his tanks here, so this is actually the good call. HeRoMaRinE has so many of his tanks not prepared, not helping. Clem withdraws for a second and then decides to go back in, and there we go. HeRoMaRinE did not have all of his tanks. This is actually an overextension from HeRoMaRinE. And while he might hold this position temporarily, a Liberator can help clean that up. He can simply drop on top of the tanks, what have you. HeRoMaRinE also doing his best to deny any amount of mining. Has been outmined a lot of this game. Clem should be reinforcing faster than his opponents. He just need to take some better trades. Love that he even goes into a +1 armor for his vehicles. I mean, this very well could go back into Viking Liberator Wars, but right now the action is on the ground for the most part. Single Liberator going to try and help out, and she is helping a little, but she needed more tanks to help her. Not a whole lot of tanks were there. HeRoMaRinE takes a victory and might continue to push forward. Clem at 4 tanks to 6. I mean, he doesn't have enough gas to go for a third factory, but oh, I wish he did. Liberator's helping once again, but tank being missieged, picked up and is going to survive, but only so many tanks left over. HeRoMaRinE's Marines, however, also very, very low, forced to pick those up and retreat. Resources lost is not as big as I thought, considering that HeRoMaRinE has had far less mining. I thought that the resources lost was going to be a lot more favorable for him, but yeah. Apparently not. And a crazy game. Both of them making some mistakes in the heat of the moment. Things have calmed down, a little bit of a stalemate. Clem is once again going into those Vikings and is now moving most of his army to the left. Good scan timing. Almost caught the tanks unprotected. Oh, you know what's unprotected? This left base. It might be a planetary, but that is a lot of Clem's army moving over there. No sensor tower to see that. In fact, HeRoMaRinE has lost his sensor tower to the right side as well. So he's been a little blind for the past couple of minutes. Marines jump on top of the SCVs, get that surround on the planetary, making it a very inefficient planetary, and get a quick bop on HeRoMaRinE's much-needed 5th base. There is an orbital now being floated over. That is the main, I believe, as HeRoMaRinE has ever added on additional command centers. That's where Clem's bank, at least, has been helping him a lot. And Clem is even continuing to pressure. He's got 3 tanks in a decent position, but still too concavable. As HeRoMaRinE cleans that up. Gets a couple of those air units as well, but it feels like Clem is winning this tug of war. I mean, not so hardcore that I'm just like, okay, yeah, Clem win, get out, get out, get out. But, like, he's starting to win the tug of war. HeRoMaRinE, he was taking better engagements for a while, but even then, still, it feels like both of them are making similar mistakes, letting their tanks go a little too forward. Letting the Marines retreat too far, not covering their tanks. It's pretty much been all about the tanks, but, yeah. Right side looked weak. Clem's gonna try and break it, but a little bit awkward on the Marine pathing. They kind of got pushed all into a clump around that edge. I guess HeRoMaRinE was like, you know what? That push on the left side was a really good idea. I'm gonna try the same thing. He gets caught a little bit by a sensor tower, but Clem doesn't have enough army on the left side. I think he's gonna get his command center killed and maybe lose his planetary as well. Clem a little too focused on the right side. He has not repositioned his tanks. He does get the cancel, and you know what? He's going to evacuate. He's going to abandon ship. But you can't recall in TvT, so the SCVs are a little stuck. Decides to go back to actually trying to hold there as he has so much more army coming from the right side. Once again, gonna try and get a bit of a pincer, maybe? Nah, abandon ship. That is the official call right there. Oh, this is so awkward. He pulls the SCVs from the left with the Marines. Is this gonna be enough? Clem, the man with the surrounds. This time it is not good enough. He didn't have enough firepower for how many tanks there were. Oh, bad trade on his part, and he also lost the base, but he is still mining from the right side, and he still has an extra command center to float back over there, given the opportunity. He's going to catch most of the tanks of HeRoMaRinE on the right side, but still lose out his positioning to protect his right side base. Just a couple of tanks in those high grounds trying to hold. Very rarely do I see a battle on this edge of Pillars of Gold, but here we are. 2 tanks left. Could be kind of freebies if he drops on top of them. Scan reveals just an orbital, so he knows HeRoMaRinE is desperate because an orbital left side and an orbital to the right side. Such a well-timed scan right there to try and support the mining on this base, but high ground does still go to Clem ultimately. Okay, well, actually, HeRoMaRinE's about to bust him, so just kidding. Just kidding. Clem needs to skedaddle. He needs to skedaddle, but he's focused on moving over here. There are 4 tanks available. He's going to spread, go for the concave. He knows it's an orbital. He wants to get it so badly. But it's too many tanks, at least for now. Doesn't even win that 1 tank war here. Clem, oh no. I thought the tug of war was going in his favor, but now HeRoMaRinE is bringing it back. Oh, thank you, Grizzlov, for the... Oh, wow, gifting a tier 3 and a tier 2 sub? Jesus, thank you very much. That is very sick. Looks on the left side. Fuck, I missed it. I missed the tanks being broken. Clem might have dropped on top of them or just got a good concave, but the 4 tanks that were over here officially go down. And now he's going to lose the orbital potentially. The SCV repair to save it. He's still okay. He's probably still going to save it. Probably still going to save it. Probably. No reason to lose one of your only orbitals. Come on now. Liberator has come forward to make the tanks on siege, and once they're on siege, we're going to jump on top of it. It looks like it's going back to Clem's favor. The SCV is still not repairing this orbital, make me very, very concerned, as HeRoMaRinE is totally focused on breaking the tank line, which he absolutely will. Okay, he is repairing it, but he's lost the right side as well. He's mining from only 1 base, and it is that base. This is the only base that's mining now for HeRoMaRinE. He's down 30 army supply, and he has not stopped Clem from mining. He stopped one side from mining, but there was always the other side mining, albeit very little. It's starting to get mined out. But he needs to stop this base, and if he can't stop this base, then he's probably not going to stop this base, and that would be just too much. HeRoMaRinE, not only going to have a direct fight problem when it comes being down 20-30 army supply. In a direct fight, he'll probably lose it. He's also going to have a problem segmenting his army to deflect multi-pronged attacks from Clem. So, 2 different ways that Clem's going to take the fight. The safer, better option is the latter one, I think. Just try and push and pull HeRoMaRinE apart. He's getting desperate to get bases. You're going to have to start reaching for those. The more direct way, but also the way to throw away a game, is to go for a head-to-head fight. Clem is trying to pull HeRoMaRinE too far apart. He's not quite gotten enough over to the right side. Maybe he does. Oh, with reinforcements, he definitely does. Only a single tank is not going to be enough. HeRoMaRinE loses the right side, but at least he still has the left. But he needed this base. He needed this base so much. There's no real hidden bases on Pillars of Gold, He was hoping that Clem would focus entirely on one section. But Clem is a little too smart for that. I think Clem has brought it back, man. Unless HeRoMaRinE does some type of crazy doom drop. He's gonna pull the SCVs to take the first shots. Nicely done there. The engagements have been insane from both of these guys, but it's too good for Clem. HeRoMaRine's gonna lose his base that is made out of mining. It doesn't matter. And if that base falls, his natural would actually have a nice little entrance, He's just gonna run into that natural, run into the main. HeRoMaRiNE, what a hard-fought battle, but he is not gonna 3-0 this kid. It's not happening. God damn, Clem. I painted such a grim picture because I truly believed it was grim. How do you bring yourself back after those first 2 games in a matchup that you don't like, or you don't think you're very good at? And he just did it. In a 26-minute game. Mm-mm-mm. Oof. Next map is Submarine. Oof. Ay, ay, ay. Sick TvT. Clem is an absolutely sick player. I mean, it's all well and good to talk a lot about his micro, because it is pretty impressive. And we got ourselves a little Maru. Tiny little Maru. But, for me, it's like, it gets really convincing when they start having this, like, strong mentality, you know? I watch too many players that are good, but just, you know, I know if they lose 2-0 against a Protoss, they're gonna just lose. I'm just like, oh yeah, it's already done. It happens, but as soon as someone is like, you know what, not my best matchup against one of the best TvTers, against the guy who has renamed the EPT Open Cups, you know what, I'm still gonna get this game. That's pretty impressive, if you ask me. More impressive than his disruptor splits. Alright, top left is the Red Terran. He is HeRoMaRinE. And in the bottom right is the Blue Terran. He is Clem. These youngins. Oh, man. HeRoMaRinE, I mean, he's been up there in the top 5 of Europe. But what sucks is that if you're not top 2, then who are you? Right? If you're not Cyril or Raynor, what are you even doing? There's actually just there's a little bit of a gap, you know? It's not like a drawbridge. It's not like there's a moat, but it's definitely a gap. And you gotta jump over it to suddenly become top 2 in Europe because of those two freaks. Freaks of nature, alright? But imagine you're HeRoMaRinE, who, like, many people consider to be at least one of the Europeans who could take them down. And you're, like, bopping along, being awesome HeRoMaRinE, life is amazing, you know, it's all good. And then some young, upstart French kid is like, you know what? I'm gonna go Super Saiyan in 6 months, and I'm going to be top 3. And you're gonna have another guy that's keeping you away. Ah! I don't know, I'd be mad. I'd start cursing out youngins. I'd be total boomer mode, you know? Back in my day, Terran wasn't even that strong. Actually, I'm pretty sure Clem has had a growth spurt, so... and, you know, I say tiny Maru, but it's like, Maru's actually pretty... He's kind of small. He's an SMOL small. Alright, so I did a lot of praise. Did a lot of praise to Clem right there. Okay, it's only because I was praising HeRoMaRinE so much in the first 2 games. Couldn't believe my eyes. HeRoMaRinE got all the things. Everything went well for HeRoMaRinE in the first... If we include his series versus Geralt, in the first 5 games. And then that last game, his 6th game, things finally did not go perfectly for him. But still, they didn't go terribly. It was actually just an honest struggle of who was the better TvTer. But, anyways, gotta draw it back a little bit. Just gotta calm down a little bit. Because it was the early game in which Clem was a bit weak. He was not getting the right builds. He was not getting the right positioning. And it was a little bit painful. So we gotta get through this part first. I think Clem fans, basically, you gotta just have, you know, hold your breath for the first 5 minutes, and if he survives that, then you can really start to believe. Right now, it is so fucking funny. Oh my god, they're doing the exact same build. They're doing the exact same build. I saw the factories, and I was like, yeah, you know, it's not too uncommon for 2 people to go for factory Hellion openers. But they're doing the Marauder Hellion build to each other. Oh my god. And they didn't even do it off of a different command center timing. HeRoMaRinE just had his command center on the high ground. That was the only difference. Actually, he does have a slightly faster command center. All right, so there's a slight difference. Like, oh my god, such a slight difference. But my point was that if it's like a committed, if it's Wonder-X expand versus factory expand, I think there's like enough of a difference that they might not hit each other in the middle. Oh my god, they're not gonna hit each other in the middle. Oh my god, oh my god! Oh, how don't you serious right now? Oh, so key is what they follow up with. So key. Raven for Clem is gonna take longer to pop out than that Cyclone for HeRoMaRinE, but the Raven doesn't get attacked. It can fly around and cast auto turrets. The Banshee starts up as, oh my god, they realize what they're doing to each other. First, Clem loses SCVs as HeRoMaRinE went right towards that main base, but there you go. The SCVs of HeRoMaRinE getting barbecued up. The Cyclone pops out, gets a Hellion with its lock-on, but its lock-on can only do so much. He's trying to save the Marauders who have surrounded the SCVs. Well done over there. HeRoMaRinE, meanwhile, is taking care of every last SCV and most of the army. The auto turret pops out and does manage to grab maybe something. The Cyclone of Clem also grabbing the other Marauder. HeRoMaRinE not picking them up fast enough. Only picks up one of the Marauders, but it's getting healed up, so it's going to take care of the Cyclone. And Clem is continuing to wreak havoc on the production of HeRoMaRinE, who is coming out ahead here. It does look like HeRoMaRinE is a little farther ahead. He has a slightly higher army supply. And his Banshee, oh, the Banshee actually popped out. Oh my god, that's gonna be it, that's it, GG. The Banshee, oh, the plays. Clem, he could start a Banshee. Clem could start a Banshee. But, oh, he didn't think about it. He didn't think about it. Oh, GG. Oh. Wow, GG. Fun best of 5. But it does go to HeRoMaRinE. HeRoMaRinE still... marking his territory, man.